Hello, welcome to my Pokemon Horizons episode 15 review. So this picks up from where we left off last episode. Liko had just had her memory messed up by Spinel and Behem, and it seems like she lost it from a point where she got Sprigatito. As she remembers things like she's studying at the Indigo Academy, is confused why she's even in Paldea. And what basically a lot of her role in this episode is getting flashes of her journey so far, coming through as she repeats various things, like going to prep Sprigatito and getting a scratch, looking up at the moon and reaching towards it, and various other bits like that. Part of me wonders if it's a bit too early to do this sort of plot of all things. You know, all the things that have happened to her have been like quite recent, and I think it'd probably be a bit more fitting if she were more developed and remembering her beginnings later on. But I still enjoyed this episode a lot, and Liko gave me some focus, so I'll take it, you know. That's not necessarily the only thing she does, as she gets caught up in a big chase and manages to evade a whole bunch of people, recording parts of her journey and putting the skills they've both learned together into play. The real star of this episode was Dot though, as she was very invested in making sure that Liko was found. She sends a writing Volt Tacklers to Artisan because online information had pointed out this Sprigatito trainer was spotted there. Of course that was a trap, and as soon as she realises her mistake, she uses her resources as a streamer to contact Iono. And yeah, this was pretty neat to get another Paldea gym leader so soon after the last one. And Dot's very insistent that she needs Iono's help, because her precious IRL friend had been lost, even when Iono had said she was a gym leader so she's busy. Dot wins her over though, and the idea that she has to find Liko is to use their fans by doing a collab, specifically picking out Liko's profile and having the crowd to try and get her. But this quickly falls apart as it only turns into a big game of tag, which Liko runs away from. Dot hangs up and meets Freed on the battle deck, and she decides to go off ship to help find Liko. Though Freed says, "Hey, you know what, we're up against a Pokemon trainer, you need a partner," and Quaxly's there, ready to go with her. So they're both taken to Levincia. She meets Roy in person for the first time. This isn't really a Roy episode, but I do like his little moment where he's able to tell that Dot is Dot because of how close she is with Quaxly, which felt like a nice, mature and perceptive moment from him. Dot's also able to make use of her knowledge of online space to track Liko down, who's now on top of a building and ready to jump to another. Dot and Roy are on the other roof, and it seems that seeing Roy is the final thing that helps her with her memories, as she has her precious friends, and it's a really funny joke that she can't remember Dot because she's never actually seen Dot before. The episode ends with Iono presenting Roy and Liko to the crowd, while Dot slinks off to thank Liko from her help with the event, in character as Nido thing of course, and kind of puts that proclamation that no one can take them down, but she was targeted towards Spinel, who was actually watching the stream. Liko also realises she doesn't have a pendant anymore, so Freed, who's joined the kids, deduces that their attacker hasn't left since Liko losing her memory and the rising Volt Tacklers being misled. It was probably a distraction to stall for time. The four of them commit to a counter-attack, and that's that. All in all, I think it's a pretty great episode. It's nice to have a little bit of Liko focus again, but the fact it intertwines with Dot starting to come up with her shell is really good stuff. I think also doing this has like set up the conflict with Spinel like very well. The misinformation and cyber aspect of something gives Dot more stake in the fight, along with the fact that he hurt her friend of course. And of course the fact that Rising Volt Tacklers are ready for their counter-attack. Again, it might have been a bit early for an amnesia plot, but still worked for me with Liko piecing everything together, and ultimately the fact that seeing Roy was the final straw was very wholesome. So yeah, I don't really have any complaints with this one. Liko was being proactive, Dot was a treat, and Iono made for a fun guest character. She was basically exactly what you'd expect, and it was super fun to see.